Access granted.
What's up? The purpose of this little video right here is to calm people down. I know there's been and there's an ongoing waves of, simply put it, panic attacks due to the ChatGPT evolution and the AI revolution in general. But contrary to what most of the YouTubers say, and from what I've seen, they're just like neurotic little people who are like lost and scared because the AI is gonna take your jobs and whatsoever. Listen, I don't know about the developers because I'm not a developer myself, but as a QA, I can assure you that you're not going anywhere. Like in the next 10 years, that's like for sure, 100%. This is, due to a simple fact. Let's look at ChatGPT, for example, and let's look at it as a tool. A tool is nothing without an operator. So if we take a hammer and a nail, and we're gonna hit the nail with a hammer, will the hammer do it by itself? Will the hammer know where to hit? Will a nail know where to be positioned? So it always comes down to the person. What can happen at maximum is that this profession will evolve, but it doesn't mean that the AI is gonna take your job. You know when I'm gonna believe that statement? When, for example, I got my VS Code or just code editor IDE opened and I got my project there, and when I got some kind of an extension, maybe based on ChatGPT or some other AI model, and this assistant, so to speak, or extension, is gonna analyze the full project, I mean the whole code in this project, at least refactor this code. You can do it piece by piece now, by uploading the images of your files, code files to the ChatGPT, for example. But it doesn't do shit for you. It helps you, it provides valuable information, analytics, but it doesn't do shit for you because you perceive that info, and based on this new info, you either refactor your code or you just rewrite it, maybe just delete it, or maybe just put some new pieces of code into the existing logic and so whatsoever. And that's only one piece of the puzzle, because automation testing, for example, requires you to write down the locators, the page object models, the patterns of system behavior. The current capabilities of ChatGPT do not allow you to do all these things. Simply because, I've tried asking this model questions like, go to a specific website and analyze its source code. I mean, when it's loaded in the browser and you open the Elements tab within the DevTools. And I was asking it that question, I was providing the site URL, but it responds that it cannot do the shit because it's not yet capable. And it cannot interact with the source code. Okay, so here is the template site that I was just speaking about, and let's throw it to the ChatGPT and ask it to provide some analysis of its source code. Let's say I need it for automation purposes. This is quite interesting actually because it wasn't here before. Last time I asked it this question, it says that I cannot do that, unfortunately. Let's see what it comes up with. Yep, just as I've said before that it cannot give you any analysis of the site's source code. However, it says that this version, GPT-4, can browse the web, and still it does not tell you, it does not respond you with some meaningful info in this case. Okay, let's ask it, can you at least browse this site and tell me what the hell is on the front, is on the landing page, so to speak, on the main page. Because this gives me the info I already know, use the DevTools and all that shit. So I can do it without. I need to get some real value out of this tool. Value for the fucking $20 a month. Okay, let's formulate our query in this way. So the devs say that your current version can browse the web. Can you browse that site I've given you and provide some info which is a proof that you've visited that site? Okay, this is something. Yeah, I think this info is a proof of this shit, that this is it's actually a practice website for automation engineers, content. Yep, as you can see, all the clothes, women, men, kids, dresses, all that stuff. So if we go here, yep, full-fledged, it just, I guess it scraped this info, full-fledged practice website for automation engineers, and here is what we have here. Yep, pretty much. What if you ask it this question? Let's ask the last question. So
can you give me? I want, for example, I want to get some specific locator. Let's say for the sign up login header menu category. Can you once again visit that website and give me a locator for the header menu category named give me an XPath for that specific locator. I'm using it for my playwright automation tests. Okay, this is interesting actually. Let's check it, shall we? If it's really this locator and if it's really distinct one, because it may not be. So let's go to our DevTools elements and let's search for it. Wow, this is actually something, you know? So this is what I'm trying to tell you all along. You can use it won't do shit for you, but it will and it can help you a lot. So because actually I do not even remember how to construct complex XPaths for or some locators, But if I can do it this way, then why the hell not? So thank you, ChatGPT. Yep, good work. Okay, now let's ask GPT a more complex question. So imagine we got some similar buttons which are like identical. They may not be identical here, but they may be identical here. And you gotta click the specific button. It's like the same as complex scenario with when you are working with chain locators or some tables, all that shit. So, but let's try this one now. So now I want you to browse this website and give me a unique locator for the element which I've highlighted in a red square on the attached screenshot. And let's make this screenshot. And let's highlight this button even like this. Let's see how can it solve this task. What the fuck is going on? Okay, let's see. Yep, let's try again. Seems like there's some error with this instrument for this case. This is the final attempt. I'm not going to try any more times. This is just for the demo purposes to show you that it doesn't always work the way you expect it to. See, it doesn't do shit for me in this case, so it tells me that I gotta use the dev tools, blah blah blah, this XPath shit. Okay, not a big deal. So just to show you that it won't take your job unless it can solve such tasks, Alright.
Then I asked this model that does your source code have anything related maybe to the future possibilities of you interacting with the external resources and their source codes, at least what is being loaded to the client. And it says no.
Yeah, so let's ask the source code question just to back me up and to give you an example that this is not me just talking shit or whatsoever. Does your source code have anything related, let's say, does your current version anything related to the ability visiting external resources and pages, analyzing their source codes? So as you can see, the current version of ChatGPT does not have anything related to the ability to analyze the external pages source code. So basically, as it says, that it's like a simplified web browser and it cannot interact with web pages in real time. So it cannot fill forms, dynamic content, all that shit. It can only share the info from these pages. That's good. That's a good thing, as you've seen with the locator example. That's a good thing. But it can look up some information for you in the web, but it cannot, as it says, directly analyze the source code or interact with the live web elements. Okay, so that's cool. That's cool. Let's ask another question. Are there any future plans for this? So it says that there were no publicly announced plans for this feature. Alright, so yeah, maybe GPT-5 will be able to do this shit or some other, versions in the future. We will see, we'll see.
So, as you probably guessed by now, this is the part where you still will do the tasks by yourself. But it can help you if you take a screenshot of some source code snippet or like element form description with the HTML description of the element, so to speak. You make a screenshot of the HTML code, you put it to the ChatGPT, and you ask like, give me some unique or distinct locator for a specific element, so to speak. You may upload like the split screen, for example, how it's rendered, how the UI rendering is gonna be on one side of the screen, and the HTML code of that specific part of the UI is going to be on the another side of the screen. And then you may ask GPT to provide you with a specific locator or the locators for the very specific element. So I think this is probably what it can do.
Alright, and let's try and ask ChatGPT another question with a screenshot on a split screen, with a screenshot of the UI on one side and the source code of the page, HTML code, so to speak, on the other side. So let's make the screenshot at first, and let's highlight the element that we need. Okay, and let's ask a question. So, hey, I need a unique locator for an element highlighted in red square and red arrow. Analyze the attached screenshot and give me a unique locator. And let's attach the screenshot here. Now let's add another info that I also have a piece of the HTML source code of this page at the right side on this screenshot. Let's specify a little bit more. Update. I need a string locator. I need a locator as a string. I use it for playwright tests. Okay, that's better, I think. Let's try and find it here, by the way. Yeah, this is good. This is actually good. This is a correct answer, so to speak. But, but still, I may go for something like this, and it will still be good. So, if you're familiar with the locator search methods, then you might not even need GPT as your helper. Maybe for, some complex queries or chain locators, so to speak. But in general, if you are new to the topic, and maybe if you're just junior or somewhere around middle automation, you might find this tool pretty helpful. So once again, it doesn't eliminate your job. How the fuck can it? Because, you ask questions, you get the answers. You use the answers in your fucking code. Isn't that a great tool? I think it's a great tool. So stop the goddamn panic, please, people. Alright? And just use this thing for your own advantage.
So, but this is also a helper. It will not create the spec for you, because, you can create. For example, you're using some automation framework, like myself, I'm using Playwright. First and foremost, you gotta create the architecture, and the architecture will not be the same for, even for the two projects you're working on, for example, because every project uses different services and it's got different infrastructure. So you may just use the GPT as a helper to collect, to gain the information piece by piece, as I've been showing in this series, and then, you as a human, you put these pieces together to form some sort of a setup, some sort of the framework architecture, which is built into the project you're working on, which is built into the CI/CD process, for example. Can it speed up your work progress? Yes, it can, but it all depends on the project pace. It depends on the project goals. Because I think as a QA, first and foremost, you participate within the processes of setting the requirements, all that mockups and stuff, the business logic, the product logic. So this is your first and foremost tasks. If you're just an automation QA, still you have to interact, at least with the manual QAs, at least with the lead or with some management regarding all those things. Because, for the most part, manual QAs are more familiar with the product itself because they interact with it more often. While automation QAs create the code, they're like automating some routine stuff or maybe some critical stuff. But still, manual QAs, from my personal experience, usually supply the automation QAs with such cases. Another thing is when you are an experienced engineer who has seen and practiced the manual part of this profession as well as automation part. Like myself, for example, I'm not saying that I'm a god of this or some, but I consider myself to be a decent specialist. I'm not saying that I'm better than everybody or like anybody else, because I'm using the ready-made solutions from some people who are thankfully uploading this to the internet or to the YouTube where you're watching this now, and they're doing it like for free. It's actually the best time to be alive. It's like the golden age of the IT we're living in now. It's not gonna be like that forever, because as I've said that in some time, maybe like 10, 15 maybe years, maybe 20, I don't know, maybe it will come faster, I don't really know, but I will believe that AI can take your job if you can create such a prompt or a question, or even if it's been like loaded to your project code as an extension, and it analyzes all that stuff, and it analyzes all the project documentation, and based upon that, and that's a fucking whole lot of information. Sometimes it's like gigabytes of just text data. So this is for you to understand that there is no reason to go full panic mode right now. So when this stuff can analyze, you just like add it as a plugin to all your services, and it operates as an ecosystem of a super intelligence ecosystem, which based upon your info only, and somehow it also does this market research upon the info and knowledge of the world that it has up to this point, and then it compares these massive pieces, these massive like amounts of data, and it gives you the conclusions. Maybe it draws you the more like trendy mockups, so to speak. It creates the business logic for those mockups. It ties these pieces together. It creates the CI/CD process. It ties it to the QA, or it ties the QA into the SDLC. It creates the test cases. It documents all that stuff. I mean, it's so far from that right now. Maybe it's gonna learn at some supernatural pace. I don't know. I don't really know. I can't say that. It's gonna be like that. But still, it's so early to speak about that. Well, all I'm trying to say in this video that you as a professional or as a human being who's just entering, this sphere, it's the greatest time to be in this sphere right now, because it is still evolving, and artificial intelligence with its like level of development at this point, it's just a tool like any other tool. Like automation framework is a tool which helps you automate routine stuff. TCMS or BTS, like bug trackers or case management systems, are also tools. They help you not to forget how your system should work, or some critical cases, how they should work. So look at it as a tool set. And maybe, just maybe, or maybe it is already, like asking the GPT or any other AI model, asking these models the correct questions, which really help you within your work progress, help you and the team. So asking these correct questions is a skill. I think it's a skill that should also be present within your CV, and it's not shameful. For example, in my location, in my vicinity, in Ukraine here, we were always taught from the early school days that cheating is bad for you, it doesn't help you learn stuff, but there is a process behind it. So when you know how to cheat, it means that you know how to look for the information, you know how to operate information, data, and it's not a bad thing, because as the real world teaches us the things they don't teach you at school, the skills of being able to operate the data and being able to look for some really like valuable stuff within all these data streams is much more valuable actually than when you know a lot and you don't like use some cheat sheets or whatsoever. Because being able to do stuff which is good for business is much more valuable than if you know 100 books about programming or like 50 books about the QA stuff and processes, and you have completed like all the possible certifications that there are right now in the world. So yeah, it's a good thing for you as a professional, I think. It gives you an ability to model some abstract situations which are related to your profession. Still, like practical knowledge, practical application of your knowledge is more valuable than theoretical knowledge, some theoretical abstract knowledge, so to speak. So all I'm trying to say here is that use artificial intelligence to your advantage and to the advantage of your team and your business. That's the only way it will grow, and it will, if you ask it the right questions. So you may also, another idea, this is the last I'm gonna say before I leave you, with this video. As an idea, try brainstorming sessions with your team, like a conference call, and try to solve some issues that are within your product or your project. Like, where are we now? Where are we going? What are we doing wrong? Based on some information about it. You don't have to provide it with, specific locations or sensitive date. You may just do it at a high level if you feel it like you're stuck. So this is one way of doing things. So just use it. Use it. You may even abuse it. It doesn't give a shit. It's just a machine. It doesn't give a shit. It is just a machine. What? Alright, so thank you for your time. I hope you use this stuff for your advantage, because I know there's lots and lots of talented people out there. So do not be afraid of the AI. Look at it as a tool, look at it as a helper, look at it as a way to solve your issues more efficiently without any panic attacks. Thank you. Peace.
Access denied.